Hello, everybody, and welcome inside the tennis stadium here at the StubHub Center in Carson, California for our continuing live coverage of the 2013 Reebok CrossFit Games. I'm Sean Woodland alongside Bill Grundler. We are in day 3 of competition and through 8 events. Rich Froning on top of the leaderboard, but just barely over 6 points. Jason Khalipa sits in second place. Prince once said he wants to party like it's 1999. Tonight, we're going to wad like it's 2007, Bill.
That's right. We're taking out the original, the first ever games workout ever. 1,000-meter row, then 5 rounds of 25 pull-ups and 7 push-jerks at a whopping 135 pounds for these guys. Time cap of 15 minutes. And I'll tell you what, back in the day, Jolie Gentry had the winning women's time at 16:22. Going to knock about a minute and 30 seconds off and say, all right, everybody, let's see if you've improved your fitness. We're only going to give you 15 minutes on this.
2007 at the Ranch in Aromas, the very first event of the very first CrossFit Games. Chris Spieler taking part in that. It was Brett Marshall with a winning time of 13:07. Chris Spieler did it in 13:52. And now we're bringing it back to see how far we have advanced since the first CrossFit Games. Rory McKernan is on the competition floor. Ro?
Thanks, Sean, and also thanks for the Prince reference. On a day when Tyga actually took the stadium floor, you go with Prince. I don't know. So what I like the best, Rogue Fitness, as much of a logistics company as they are a fitness equipment company, look at what they've set up here. Always fun to see how this stadium floor changes throughout the weekend. We've got rigs, so there should be no confusion about what athlete is in the lead. I was talking to Chris Spieler, who did have one of the top times in 07 on this workout. He says the keys to success are going to be the pull-ups. Watch for whoever has the best pull-ups to do the best in this event. And this 135 pounds, everyone agrees, it was heavy then, but it's almost laughable for these athletes now.
Thank you, Ro. And Bill, we often repeat events in CrossFit competitions. We saw it in the Open, and we saw it in the regionals.
CrossFit is about observable, repeatable, and measurable. So guess what? We're repeating to see how much of an improvement you've had in your fitness. This is what CrossFit is all about. And yes, we've kind of played with some of the other, named workouts with Nancy and making it nasty and naughty and all that. But this is an original right here. You gotta love what Dave Castro has done with this.
4 total heats for the men. The athletes who will be taking part in the first are set to take the floor.
Here they come, CrossFit in lane 1, Ryan Swabity. In lane 2, Zach Forrest. In lane 3, Mike McGoldrick. In lane 4, Eric McGee. Lane 6, Nico Arompa. Lane 7, Marcus Philly. In lane 8, Alex Nettie. Lane 9, Daniel Tominski. Lane 10, Austin Maliolo. And in lane 11, Orlando Trejo.
All 11 lanes will be occupied. Your starting grid for this first of 4 heats for the men. And some names here we expected to be much further up in the standings.
When you have people that have placed high in the top 15 in the games, you don't expect them to see in your opening heat. Guys like Zach Forrest, guys like Austin Maliolo. Austin was actually 8th last year. Zach Forrest was 12th in 2011. You're not used to seeing these guys that far down on the leaderboard. However, Zach Forrest has a whopping 74 pull-ups, max effort, one time. So, we talked about pull-ups being the key to this. This is what it's going to be right here. I think Zach's got the best shot for it.
And in lane 10, Austin Maliolo, who finished 8th at the games last year.
You know, he wants a little bit of retribution here. You know, he wants to get out of this first heat. He's a well-known CrossFitter, very strong. He also has 65 max effort pull-ups. So again, the pull-ups should bode well for him. We'll have to see what his row looks like and how he gets through this gargantuan setup that Rogue has set up on the floor.
Many of these athletes spent 90 minutes or more on the rower on Wednesday. I'm sure they thought they were done with it, but here we go again. They'll start with a 1,000-meter row. Heat number 1 is underway, and we start with a 1,000-meter row. After that, it's 5 rounds of 25 pull-ups and 7 shoulder to overhead at 135 pounds.
Now the row, you're exactly right. They were not expecting to have, and not wanting to have another 1,000-meter row. They spent enough time on it earlier in the first day. But you know what? The row, this is the classic setup for most of the workouts that we've seen, either regional or games events. It's more just a piece to get through. They're not going to go all out. They're not trying to set their world record time on the rower right now. All this does is get the heart rate going, and then let's see how your body works under that tension, under that pressure.
Zach Forrest in lane 2, the man who finished 3rd in the Southwest region. He was 12th of the games in 2011.
You can see a lot of depth movement right there. Something Zach Forrest is doing that I think might hurt him just a touch. He's actually holding that handle at his chest, having to use his arms to hold that. Not that there's a whole lot of tension, but it is tension that he doesn't need to waste any energy on right now. Just touch his chest and let it go right back straight again and let those arms rest.
What time are these athletes shooting for in a 1,000-meter row?
You know, if it was only a 1,000-meter, you'd be shooting for just over 3 minutes, 3:15. But again, they want to make sure that they can go as unbroken as possible on those sets of 5 rounds of 25 pull-ups. So I don't expect them to get any sort of world record pacer by any means.
Alex Nettie in lane 8, the man who finished 3rd in the North Central region. He was 7th there in 2012, played college baseball at the University of Notre Dame and actually spent some time in the Chicago White Sox minor league organizations.
You know, Alex, he's a little bit of a taller athlete. He's got those long legs. So the nice thing about these rows is for him, this is going to be an area where he can make, you know, move himself ahead of the pack, hopefully. Nice long strokes. He's looking nice and relaxed right now. Needs to keep his arms straight a little bit longer, bend them right at the very end of that stroke rather than through the middle.
This is the 9th of 12 scored events here at the 2013 Reebok CrossFit Games. 3 events per day, 3 today and 3 tomorrow. And Daniel Kaminsky in lane 9 right next to Alex Nettie. And this is a man who we expected to be at least in the top 15 after this many events.
I really had some high hopes for Daniel coming into this game season. I mean, he looked unbelievable in the regionals. He was looking great through the open. He just hasn't really seemed to hit his stride so far in the games here. Again, he needs to have a nice showing here to get him into that next day and hopefully get him out of this first heat.
Daniel Kaminsky currently coming in 39th place overall. Judges' hands going up, meaning these athletes are close to completing their 1,000-meter row. And Bill, this event was not really designed, but sort of chosen at random in 2007.
Yeah, it's actually true. They actually did they call this one the hopper. The reason they call it the hopper is because they threw all the balls into a true hopper and they actually picked them out. And Sakamoto's kid actually reached in and grabbed out and chose to work out for them. Guess what? We're doing it again.
Alex Nettie with about 150 meters to go. And now all the athletes closing out their 1,000-meter row. The hand up means that the athlete is within 250 meters of that 1,000-meter mark. After this, they will then move to the pull-up bar. 25 pull-ups, 7 shoulder to overhead at 135 pounds, and they do that 5 times.
Again, how hard are they going to be pushing through here? You see them actually kind of taking a break right there. Daniel Kaminsky chalking up his hands. The point here, what these guys really want to do is go unbroken on these sets of 25. So they need to have a nice, strong butterfly, keep their bodies controlled as possible, really keeping a nice, tight core, not letting their legs break all crazy behind them. Keep that as tight and use as much leverage off that kip as they can.
Right now, Daniel Kaminsky is your leader. He's through 20 pull-ups, now 21, as he looks to go unbroken on this first set of 25, and then he will move to the barbell and have to put that from his shoulder over his head 7 times. And this is a weight that is just more of a nuisance for these athletes.
Yeah, they need to really try to use as much as they can as a rest. Now, granted, 135 is not super, super light, but to what these guys are usually dealing with for 7 reps, they would be more expecting something like 205, 225 for a set of 7.
Malialo on the right, Tyminski on the left. They're your 2 leaders.
Wow, actually waiting there in line. You don't usually see that in a race.
And now Daniel Tyminski back on the pull-up bar for round number 2. Austin Malialo is there with him as well. Tyminski through 6, Malialo through 7 now, and now it's Eric McGee, Gary Helmick, and Marcus Philly all getting to the second pull-up bar as well. 15-minute time gap on this event. Brett Marshall in 2007 had the winning time for the men, 13 minutes and 7 seconds.
And these guys have had a lot of action on their hands so far this game. They've had bar muscle-ups when they were wet. They've had ropes that they've had to climb with no assistance of their legs. They've had that big pig that they had to actually flip. Depending how they start pulling on this pull-up, they can really tear hard on their hands. See right here, Daniel Tyminski doesn't have anything on his hands. No tape, no gloves, no anything. So hopefully his hands are going to hold through this 125 reps of pull-ups.
Daniel Tyminski on his second set of 7 shoulder to overhead. He's through 5, he's through 6, and now through 7. So Tyminski has gone unbroken on every movement through his first 2 rounds. Now moving to his 3rd set of pull-ups. Behind him is Austin Malialo, who currently sits in 2nd place. Alex Netty in 3rd.
Daniel Tyminski is doing exactly what he needs to do. And what I'm really impressed with right now is look how calm he looks relaxed right now. That's what you want. He isn't starting to strain. His legs are nice and straight, which is getting him as much torque out of that pull as he can. And that's the first time he's gone unbroken.
Daniel Tyminski through 13 pull-ups before he hops off the bar. Alex Netty is on the bar as well. Miko Arompa is there, and Austin Malialo. And now it's Miko Arompa in 2nd place behind Daniel Tyminski, who is through 19 pull-ups on his 3rd set.
When a lot of people start to say that are non-CrossFit athletes, they start to say, you know what, that pull-up, that's cheating. You're totally cheating right now. Actually, what they're doing is they're doing the same amount of work that a regular strict pull-up would doing, but they're doing it quicker. So when we talk about CrossFit, it's how much work can you done faster? That's the intensity that we're looking for. So the pull-up that we do isn't necessary to build up just your biceps and your lats. It's working your whole body as a system at one time.
Daniel Tyminski unbroken once again on the shoulder to overhead, and now he moves on to round 4 and having to change lanes and go over to the chalk bucket before he hops on the bar, but Tyminski is in the lead. 25 more pull-ups. This is his 4th round.
Daniel, look at those legs. Again, nice and tight. He's keeping a nice tight core. We call that doing the hollow body when he's starting to shut down forward. And the Superman when he opens up the other way, but he's not breaking. His knees aren't bending. He's tight. He's using that leverage to his advantage, using that kip and that butterfly to his advantage.
Tyminski is through 13 pull-ups on his 4th round. Now Austin Malialo on the right of your screen and Alex Netty on the left have gotten into their 4th round of pull-ups as well. 25 reps, then back to the barbell, 7 shoulder to overhead at 135, and then a 5th and final round before closing out the event. Daniel Tyminski done, and now moving on to his 4th round of shoulder to overhead as he continues to lead this first of 4 heats here in the 9th of 12 scored events. 2007.
Again, I love how Daniel is so relaxed right now, and that's exactly what he needs to do. Stay calm, stay relaxed, rest as you can as you're walking from one station to the other. And I'll tell you what, I think a lot of athletes now are starting to take that from Rich Froning. That's exactly what he does. He's a champion. It seemed to work for him, and he's doing the exact same thing right now, resting as he transitions from one movement to the next.
Now Malialo on his final set of 25 pull-ups. Dan Tyminski continues to lead as he is through 10 repetitions.
So he's gone over 100 pull-ups already. Again, we're trying to get to a total of 125. He's trying to cut these down into manageable chunks now at the end. Trying to keep that rest as short as he can. He's starting to struggle a little bit, but again, his form's not breaking down. He's staying solid all the way through.
5 reps to go for Tyminski, then he picks up the barbell one final time. Meanwhile, Alex Netty next to him. is currently in second place as Tyminski moves on to his final set of 7, shoulder to overhead, and Daniel Tyminski looking like he's going to run away with his first heat.
He looks great right now. I mean, again, this dirt is not heavy for these guys. All he needs to do is do his thing and get through there. That was a great showing by Daniel.
Daniel Tyminski is done. A final time of 9:12.5. So Tyminski takes the first heat and beats Brett Marshall's score by nearly 4 minutes.
You know, it would be crazy if you could time travel right now and go back to the day and come back. You'd be the Rich Froning of 2007. That might be kind of fun, actually. I personally might enjoy that.
I mean, you should start working on that one. Alex Netty.
Flux capacitor.
Currently in second place. Behind him is Migo Aropa, who's gaining ground. Aropa in lane number 6. Alex Netty in lane 8. And Alex Netty now to the barbell as he tries to wrap up a second place finish here in the first of 4 heats for the men. This is the 9th of 12 scored events here at the 2013 Reebok CrossFit Games 2007. Migo Aropa on the left now, on the barbell, trying to catch Alex Netty. Netty's done, and Alex Netty will finish in second place in this heat. Netty coming in with a time of 10:12.7. Now Migo Aropa is in 4 seconds behind Netty.
You know, the rep set for these athletes is perfect. I mean, it's just enough for them to really push the limit. They, you know, if it was too large of a number, something like 50 at a time, they'd be really breaking it up. But these guys are really pushing the limit, and that's where you can see Austin Malleolo starting to break down, having to do sets of actually 1 at that point.
Now Austin Malleolo trying to catch Marcus Philly. Marcus Philly threw 3 of those reps. Austin Malleolo threw 5, so Philly with about a 1 rep lead as he moved to 6. Philly is in.
Austin Malleolo, you know, he's happy to get through that again. He started looking at his hands, so I think he actually started to break down a little bit.
So Malleolo with a time of 10:55.9. Marcus Philly finished up, as did Ryan Schwabity and Zach Forrest. Forrest finishing 4th, and now Orlando Trejo coming across the finish line. Trejo a time of 11:16.2, and
there's the
that's the price. That's the price you got to pay sometimes with that grip, hands ripping. And everybody who trains CrossFit knows what it's like to tear on a pull-up bar.
Again, there's a lot of, you know, he held his body positioning great, but I think just the fact he didn't have any tape, no gloves, no anything, which is usually unusual. Most CrossFitters now will do that just for pure protection.
Gary Helmick on the right of your screen, finishing up next to him, also in the black jersey, is Eric McGee, asking the judge to get out of his way as he gets to work on his final set. And now Helmick is in 11:53.9. Eric McGee getting set to finish up. McGee is done. McGee gets in at 12:02.6. So far, every man in this first heat has beaten Brett Marshall's 2007 best time of 13:07.
That's impressive increase in fitness right there.
Mike McGoldrick, the former hockey player at the Middle Tennessee State University, finishing up his event. And now Mike McGoldrick closing out heat number 1. McGoldrick a time of 12:24. So how much have we progressed in 6 years? I'd say quite a bit.
Obviously a lot. You know, across the board, again, when everyone beats the time like that, that's just impressive. We have all increased our fitness, and that right there just shows it.
Daniel Tyminski setting the mark to beat the only man in the first heat to go below 10 minutes, 9:12.5, the winning time for Tyminski. Alex Netty in second, then Migo Aropa is in third. Second place, Alex Netty, trying to lock up his best finish at these games.
You know, he was just smooth and consistent all the way through. He was able to make up a lot of distance with the field, moved great through the pull-ups, and had no problem at all on the push jerks. Long arms, and still was able to just work those pull-ups all the way through.
Alex Netty a time of 10:12.7, but the man in first place, the only sub-10 time we had, a guy who needs to score some points to start moving up the leaderboard, Daniel Tyminski.
He looked cool, calm, and collected the whole time, and that's what I was expecting to see from Daniel Tyminski. It's exactly the type of score that he needed, a good time that he needed. We'll see how that holds up with the rest of the big boys coming up later.
Still 3 heats to go for the men, but right now Daniel Tyminski sits in first place in event 9. It's called 2007. It's the 9th of 12 scored events here at the 2013 Reebok CrossFit Games. And once again, the tennis stadium at the StubHub Center is filled to capacity. The tickets to get in to the tennis stadium sold out in 15 minutes.
There's a whole bunch of green shirts out there. You know who they're waiting for, Josh Bridges. Everybody knows that he's, along with everyone, he's going to be the guy to beat in this workout.
Heat 1 results. Daniel Tominski finishing first. Everybody beating the time that Brett Marshall set in 2007 of 13 minutes and 7 seconds. Let's go down to Rory McKernan on the competition floor.
Thanks, Sean. I've got with me the director of the CrossFit Games, Dave Castro. Dave, you kind of you fished this thing out of your brain way back in 2007. Why would we dig something like this back up in 2013?
I have a question for you. You took your glasses off to start this interview. Should I take mine out too? Is that
the eyes are the window of the soul. Let's see them.
thing to do?
Yeah, let's see inside that brain.
Okay, why would we do a workout like this? Collect data to compare, to see how far the sport's come, to see how strong the athletes have become, to see how fast they can go. And already in this first heat, every single one of them beat the times, the fastest time from 2007 set by a good friend of ours, Brett Marshall. And mad respect to him for doing that back then. But everyone's got stronger, more fit, more powerful, more fast, become better CrossFitters.
Now, 135 pounds back then was a heavy weight, so we've already seen the progression, as you mentioned. What do you think is the key for athletes who are going to take the top time in this workout?
Row really fucking hard and don't stop there. And push it, push it, push it. Don't pace. I don't think Jason's going to go for this. Jason's going to go for it. Josh Bridges is going to do well, but you got to just go for it.
Thanks, Dave.
It's a sprint now. Thank you. Can I put my glasses back on?
Thank you, Ro, and thank you, Dave. So here we are.
You know, again, he's right. You got to row, but that, just like everyone said, I don't think this is about the row. This is about the pull-ups. Who's going to stay on that bar? Who's going to have the most unbroken rounds? And if they do break them, what chunk are they going to go for so they keep that rest as short as possible? They got to stay on that bar as long as they can.
One heat down and 3 to go here at the tennis stadium at the StubHub Center as the barbells await the second of 4 heats for the men.